Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Obviously not at home, traveling. So this is going to be one of my settings now and then. I'll be traveling, so I will make videos on the run. So what do we have here? We have Mr. Grant Shapps, who is the defense minister of Great Britain. Grant Shapps, that's his name. Shapstein, because he's Shapstein, and he makes a claim that Russia and China are working together in Ukraine, which is they're fighting a war against the West. That's his claim. We're going to find out if that's true, and I have some evidence to confirm that. Now, this is the first one. The second topic of this video is the Americans immediately come out and say, Shapstein, we don't have that confirmation yet. Even though the Americans, if you remember, said many times before that they have evidence, receipts of the Chinese companies delivering weapons to Russia in order to fight them, NATO, United States of America, in Ukraine. So Shapps was then contradicted by the White House, and then we have a meeting, a new meeting between the president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, and the president of China, Xi Jinping. And they will meet again. They just met, what, a week and a half ago or so? Now they're going to meet again. So what are those guys going to talk about? Well, the alliance is clear. So let me start with the first article here, which comes from Ukrainska Pravda. Let me see if I got it right. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. There you go. So UK Defense Secretary, let me put my goggles, claims evidence of China delivering weapons to Russia. There you have. That's the first one. This is the Mr. Shapstein. That's the Scotsman. He's the Irish, the English, or the Welsh, however you want. None of that. This is none of that. He is Jewish. UK Defense Secretary Grant Shapps on Wednesday accused China of providing or preparing to provide lethal weaponry to Russia for use in the war against Ukraine. Reuters, citing Shapps as reported by European Pravda. Shapps stated at a conference in London that American and British military intelligence have evidence, American and British evidence, British military intelligence have evidence that, and I'm quoting, lethal aid is now or will be flowing from China to Russia and into Ukraine. First, besides the fact that I don't trust anybody until we build trust, and it's by verification many times, and tests. You test people. If you don't test people, then you're going to be burned sooner or later. Like this, you minimize the opportunities. So what's going on here? The Americans, if you remember, they and the Brits said Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. They did not have, and they invaded nevertheless. They destroyed the country, and a lot of people perished, including children and so on, but we brought freedom and democracy that they didn't ask for. But we knew better what they want, so they is not only the American people, no. It's the guy in charge of the American people, and not even those. It's the guys in charge of the guys who are voted to represent the American people. That's how it goes. All right, so I don't trust these intelligence services from any country, because they have a little department in each of these intelligence services that is, I don't think it's called, like, those evil guys, the Nazis, at least had the decency to call their Ministry of Propaganda, as it was. They didn't call it of information, not even disinformation. Here is intelligence, They all have this propaganda ministry inside of the whatever, PR, whatever they have over their operation. So when they have the intelligence communities coming out and saying that, CIA, for instance, they have a little department over there with telling us garbage. Why? That's the way it works. Remember, the art of war of Sun Tzu says the art of war is the art of deceiving. That means, hey, I'm weak. Bang, I'm strong. I'm weak. But hey, you can't go too many times and try to, how do you call that? Bluff too many times. So let's go back to the article. Here we have. Okay. Remember, he has already information. The ministry said that it is a significant development. He used, you see, it's right now. It's right there. And I'm quoting this guy. We should be concerned about that because in the earlier days of this war, China would like to present itself as a moderating influence on Russian President Vladimir Putin, he added. Schatz also noted that we have evidence that Russia and China are collaborating on combat equipment for use in Ukraine. And I'm quoting, as we saw from Putin's state visit to Beijing and the 64% growth in trade between Russia and China since the full-scale invasion, they're covering each other's back. The British minister, because he's British. So there you have him. This is the evidence Schatz brings. Now I'm going to go to the next article, which is right here. You see, I put in the search box the name of the article I found initially. And I'm going to show you to you. And it's right here. China and Russia working together on war in Ukraine, warns Schatz. This is the article, the Telegraph. But I'm going to show you something else, excuse me, on my little big iPad. See, this is the article as it was, right there. China and Russia working together on war in Ukraine. Okay, this is May 22nd, Wednesday, right? And when I'm gonna go to that article I showed you already, that showed up right there, I'm gonna go and let's see what name comes. U.S. contradicts Schatz claim that China and Russia are working together on war in Ukraine. So they immediately covered Schatz' lie. Right? And I went down with this. I went as far down. This is a liar. Remember the big lie? All right. He's one of them. One of the inventors of the big lie. So nevertheless, I went down. I said, well, maybe I find that article. No, this is the article now that U.S. contradicts. All right, let's see what the Americans have here. The U.S. has questioned a claim. All right, you don't want to cooperate with me? What the hell? Right there. This is from Microsoft Start, MSN, blah, blah, blah. U.S. contradicts. Let's see. The U.S. has questioned a claim by the U.K. that Russia and China are working together to combat equipment to be used in Ukraine. Grant Shapps, the defense secretary, said on Wednesday that the two countries were collaborating on lethal aid for Moscow to use in its war against Kiev. He told the press defense conference. So, we know what he said from the other. This is a liar. Why? Because Zelensky Stein is in charge of Ukraine, and Yermak Stein is in charge of Ukraine, and Zmihal Stein is in charge of Ukraine, and he, Mr. Schatz Stein, is in charge of your defense ministry. All right, got that? And here we have Blinkenstein in charge of our foreign policy, and Yellenstein being, the Secretary of Treasury, our money. And Mayorkas being one of the NSA, if I remember, National Security Agency, right, or something like that, in charge. And you can go on and on. The American White House Chief of Staff is one Zelensky Stein. So it's a coincidence, right? And doesn't matter. Let's move on. So they said, well, let's see what exactly this guy said. Asked about Mr. Schatz' speech, right here. At the daily White House press briefing, Mr. Sullivan, a weasel, replied, and I'm quoting, "We have not seen that to date. I look forward to speaking with the UK to make sure that we have a common operating picture." So it doesn't mean that what was the title? Contradicts. He said, we don't have that information yet. Give us the information. Maybe you are fast and we're slow. And we're going to go to the last part of this video, which is from South China Morning Post. Chinese President, we don't have to continue anywhere. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russia's Vladimir Putin to meet again in July to build on Beijing visit, Lavrov says. Foreign Minister Wang Yi and Sergei Lavrov hold talks on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, vowed to expand ties. Beijing and Moscow should maintain security, that's military, and stability in the common Chinese-Russian neighborhood. What the hell? Neighborhood. Jesus. Neighborhood. Neighborhood. All right. So Chinese president is expected to meet his Russian counterpart Putin in Kazakhstan in July, Russia's top diplomat said during a meeting with China's foreign minister on Monday. It will be the second meeting between the top leaders of China and Russia in about 2 months after Xi hosted Putin in a state visit in China, both vowing to expand political, diplomatic, economic, and military ties by signing all kind of things, not only talking, and increasing pressure amid increasing pressure from the West. So, what do you think, my friends? It's clear we have another club here. We have a plantation, Al Capone's plantation. We have the club. And the club is around BRICS, is around Shanghai Cooperation Organization, whatever it is, Shanghai Economic, blah, blah, blah. And we have also the Road and Belt, and not only. These are all organizations where United States of America and Western countries are out. Why? Because they worked on this while these guys were busy to make sure that you can identify as whatever you want here. Only gender. You can identify racially or anything else as a boss. I go to work and say, hey, boss, I identify as your boss. What do you think a guy's gonna do? Get the fuck out of here. Or maybe I identify as the president of the US. Can I do that? Or maybe God. No, you can't. It's only one department for now that is allowed to identify yourself as blah, 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 delusional. Anyway, here it is, my friends. I think these guys are working together. I know these guys know the Russians and the Chinese are working together. I know the shops maybe said something and he was not supposed to say it now, but I think it's very obvious they are together, because if Russia falls, China is caught by the balls and say, hello, baby doll, what are you doing? So it can't happen. It cannot be allowed. So Russia will be backed by China as much as they can. Otherwise, it's going to be China's, how do you call it? China's going to be next. See, I avoided China's turn. All right, that's what it is. And shops, I think, just jumped the gun for now. The Americans will confirm that later, and so on. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. Clip.